Welcome back to Saturday in the SEC. My name is Jacob Hopkins. We got a lot coming up this week, so roll the intro.
Big night, bright lights, dogfight, bragging rights, underdogs, comebacks, armchair quarterbacks. Make the snap, make the play, make the catch, make him pay. Dedication, legacies, rivalries, dynasties. Rammer, jammer, roll tide, hook 'em horns, Texas fight, anchor down, go. Vandy, thumbs up, gig and Maggie's, Auburn Tigers, War Eagle, hotty toddy with the Rebels, Boomer Sooner, call the Hogs, tween the hedges, go Dogs, Wildcats, Big Blue, Tigers prowling, Mizzou, Hail State, Bulldogs, Rocky Top, go Vols, Gators chop in the swamp, Carolina, go Cox, Death Valley, LSU, Tigers loose in Baton Rouge. Right here, right now is the place to be. Get your game face on. It's Saturday in the SEC.
Welcome to week 5 of Saturday in the SEC. Once again, I'm your host, Jacob Hopkins. We are staring down the barrel of the biggest week in college football this season. But before we go any further, we have some highway robbery to cover. The 22nd ranked Auburn Tigers traveled to Norman, Oklahoma to face the 11th ranked Sooners last week. Friendly reminder, Auburn's quarterback, Jackson Arnold, was the starting quarterback for OU last season. Another reminder, Auburn has not beaten a ranked team on the road since 2019. That would remain true as Oklahoma ended up winning 24-17. The Sooners ended up with a program record 10 sacks. But the biggest story was a play that took place in the second quarter. John Mateer finds his receiver, Isaiah Satania, wide open for a 24-yard touchdown. But why was he so open? On the previous play, the Sooners faked like he was coming off the field in a substitution, but he stayed in bounds. When the ball was snapped, he was all alone. However, this offseason, the NCAA has been cracking down on quote-unquote deceitful plays that used another quote-unquote unfair tactics. This is a clear example of it. There should have been a flag, and the play should not have counted. And once again, Auburn lost by 7. This play could have easily cost Auburn the game. Later that night, the SEC issued the following statement. To sum it up, it says, "We screwed up. Sorry." Oh well, I'll give you guys a second to pause and read the full thing as well. You may see that it also says, "Additional accountability will be applied." No, it won't. This is not the first time something like this has happened. The SEC had to issue another apology 4 years ago when they messed up in a Memphis versus Mississippi State game. A punt return that was screwed up cost State the game and they lost by 2. The SEC also released this video to apologize.
We are deeply sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry.
Moving on, Ole Miss and LSU match up this Saturday in their 107th meeting all time. The 4th ranked Tigers now have to travel to Oxford, Mississippi to play against the 13th ranked Rebels. The major story here is the quarterback situation for Hotty Toddy. Their starting quarterback, Austin Simmons, who went down in week 3, and the backup, Trinidad Chambliss, which is a dope name for quarterback, by the way, took over. Let's compare their stats real quick. They had the same amount of passing touchdowns, but Chambliss has no interceptions. In general, he's more accurate. But most notably, the backup is a serious threat in the run game. He eclipsed the century mark on the ground last week against Tulane. Trinidad Chambliss came out of high school with only one offer, the Division II Ferris State Bulldogs. He put up 51 total touchdowns while leading the Bulldogs to a D2 championship. The former zero-star recruit has his biggest test to date with an elite Tigers defense, but I do believe he gets it done in Oxford this Saturday. Next on the itinerary is the game that most fans in the SEC are waiting for. The number 19 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide traveled to Athens, Georgia to play the 5th ranked Bulldogs. Per usual, Georgia will be favored over Alabama, this time by a field goal. The last time that UGA wasn't favored over Bama was in 2020, but the Tide have come away victorious all but one time since then. It should also be noted that the Dogs haven't beaten Bama in the regular season since 2007. To give you an idea as to how long ago that was, I went through all of school in that time. My sister, who was born around that time, is now an adult. For the record, this all predates Instagram. It's been 18 years since Georgia beat Alabama in the regular season. On top of that, Alabama's starting quarterback Ty Simpson may be related to OJ. He's a killer on the field. Despite a rough loss to FSU to start the year, the Tide QB hasn't thrown a single pick or turned the ball over. He's got 10 total touchdowns as well. So, the pick is simple. Give me the Alabama Crimson to... The Georgia Bulldogs have won 33 straight at home. Gunnar Stockton is a dog. He hasn't thrown a pick either. The Dogs have won 25 straight home night games dating back to 2009. They want their lick back from last year. There's a mean machine in red and black coming down the track. Give me the Dogs by a milli. And now it's time for this week's installment of What If Football. So, what if football stopped changing crap? For starters, the SEC will be moving to a 9-game conference schedule starting next season. That also means they will have only 3 annual rivalries, which makes no sense. We're adding a game, taking away rivals. But whatever. Some teams, it does make sense, but there's others where it just doesn't. Florida will no longer be playing Tennessee. Florida will no longer be playing LSU. LSU's been played for the last 50 straight years, by the way. That one I cannot fathom. Georgia's not going to be playing Tennessee anymore. Alabama's not going to be playing LSU anymore. So, again, what if we just stop changing crap? You know what? No, I'm going to go off script here. And I'm being dead serious. This is completely off script. What if we just stopped messing with the conferences in general? What if we, made conferences based off of proximity and not based on how much money they can pay or how much money they want? Big Ten schools should not be traveling across the country. Oklahoma and Texas should be in the Big 12. Missouri should be in the Big 12. And if I'm being honest, if we're going to continue this rant, the SEC should still be on CBS. Whenever I hear that CBS theme music, I think SEC. And it just pains me. It genuinely hurts that whenever I hear that music, it's not Saturday in the SEC. And now, rant aside, it's time for the Saturday in the SEC parlay. If you've been paying any attention at all, you know where I stand on the Georgia game. Georgia is favored by 3 over Alabama. I believe Alabama's not going to score more than 20 points this game, and Georgia's going to drop bare minimum 35. So this feels like a really easy pick. Next up, we have a conference game between Penn State all the way in Pennsylvania versus Oregon, because, conferences. But Penn State is barely favored, not by much. So I personally think that we should just take Penn State money line straight up. This is a whiteout game, and history has shown that, yes, Penn State wins those games, but at the same time, they don't cover the spread very often. So, I'm looking out for you. And then last but not least, we have Ole Miss. Again, if you were paying attention earlier, you'd know I said Ole Miss is going to win this week. Trinidad Chambliss is going to put the Rebels on his back and take down the Bayou Bengals. So you got Georgia -3, Penn State money line, Ole Miss money line. The parlay will come out to plus 444. So if you put down $100, you would profit $444. Well, that's all for this week, guys. My name is Jacob Hopkins, and remember, you can catch me on X, you can catch me on Instagram, you can catch me on TikTok. Make sure that we're also liking, subscribe, and hitting the bell icon so you can be notified whenever I post. But I'd also like to go back to the X part real quick. If you want some real entertainment, I will be crashing out this Saturday at a lot of the SEC games, especially the Georgia game. So you don't forget, it just means more, but also, go Dogs! Sick 'em! Woo, 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 woo!